If you show that you're a safe space, that you can come to me and I will love you no matter what, and I will be there to support you the best that I can, that I think is the most important thing in
Blake Lively is one of Hollywood's brightest stars, celebrated for her roles in major films and iconic TV shows. Yet, behind the glitz and glamour, a turbulent storm is brewing that could take down not just her career, but her husband Ryan Reynolds' empire too. Controversy centers on the film adaptation of It Ends With Us, a novel known for its dark portrayal of domestic violence. A far cry from the upbeat, floral fantasy marketing Lively presented to fans. That disconnect lit the fuse for a massive backlash, and what started as a wave of criticism soon escalated into a sprawling legal war worth hundreds of millions of dollars. On one side, Lively claims she was subject to relentless misconduct during filming. On the other, director Justin Baldoni and his production company Wayfarer Studios accuse her of waging a smear campaign to wrestle control of the franchise. Rumors of hush-hush deals, behind-the-scenes power moves, and secret alliances have spilled out into the open, fueling a media frenzy. And as the lawsuits pile up, some say the stakes have soared to an eye-popping $400 million. Nobody knows who'll be left standing when the dust settles. What went wrong? How did a beloved actress and a fast-rising director become bitter courtroom adversaries overnight? And why did Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, get dragged into the fray? Prepare for shocking revelations, accusations of sabotage, and the unraveling of Hollywood's newest legal saga. Let's dive in and explore every jaw-dropping twist, from botched PR to hidden agendas. You won't believe how deep this controversy runs. Colleen Hoover's novel It Ends With Us is anything but light-hearted fluff. The story delves into the grim realities of an abusive marriage, mental manipulation, and the painful choices that trap a woman named Lily in a cycle of violence. The book's raw, unsettling depiction of domestic abuse struck a chord with millions of readers, making it a bestseller that sparked emotional conversations. When Blake Lively signed on to star as Lily, fans were initially ecstatic. Her star power, combined with Justin Baldoni's directorial vision, promised a faithful, emotionally charged adaptation. Behind the scenes, the project had all the ingredients for awards buzz. But before filming even wrapped, warning signs emerged. Tensions between Lively and Baldoni reportedly flared when they clashed over creative decisions. She wanted more say in the script, the wardrobe, and how to present the film's marketing. He, as the director and co-producer, believed that was his turf. Matters escalated when Lively began teasing the film's release on social media. Instead of highlighting the novel's dark themes, she promoted it with a breezy, romantic flair, complete with floral dresses and cheerful taglines. That tone felt wildly out of place for a story dealing with domestic violence. Fans took notice, and so did critics. Soon, social platforms were buzzing with complaints that Lively was trivializing a deeply serious subject for personal brand promotion. Even Colleen Hoover's own readers, many of whom embraced the book's stark message, voiced concern. They warned that sugarcoating the film's premise could mislead viewers. As Lively continued her sunny marketing push, the tide of public opinion began to shift. Within weeks, online chatter turned from skepticism to outrage. Yet, that was only the beginning. Behind the curtain, bigger controversies simmered, ready to boil over into the headlines. What started as a PR disaster soon ballooned into full-scale legal warfare. Blake Lively unleashed a bombshell lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, accusing him of running a toxic set. She alleged that Wayfarer Studios failed to protect her from repeated misconduct, leaving her feeling unsafe and disrespected throughout filming. Her legal team labeled Baldoni as the ringleader of a hostile environment, one that not only sidelined her creative input but also tried to smear her reputation when she spoke up. Baldoni's response was swift and explosive. He filed a counterclaim asserting that Lively's accusations were baseless, and that she'd orchestrated them to seize control of the movie rights. According to Baldoni, Lively wanted to pivot from It Ends With Us to its highly anticipated sequel, It Starts With Us, without him. In his eyes, her allegations were a high-stakes power play designed to edge him out and hand the creative reins to her and Ryan Reynolds. The legal papers described a scorched earth strategy on both sides. Lively's camp insisted she was a victim of professional bullying and reputation-tarnishing leaks. Baldoni's team painted her as manipulative, eager to rewrite scripts, commandeer editing, and override established protocols that typically belong to the film's official director and producers. Suddenly, the very people who once seemed united in adapting Hoover's novel were battling in court, each claiming the other had engaged in destructive behavior. The lawsuits didn't stop there. More suits and countersuits sprouted, with staggering damage claims, some pegging losses in the hundreds of millions. Hollywood watchers went from mild fascination to outright shock, especially when rumors surfaced about behind-the-scenes recordings, text messages, and emails that could tilt the entire case. At this point, fans, critics, and industry insiders realized this wasn't just another run-of-the-mill Hollywood spat. It was a drama that could sink careers, tarnish reputations, and possibly reshape the landscape for how stars and studios handle creative disputes. Caught in the crosshairs of public scrutiny, Blake Lively's legal team sought a gag order to stem the tsunami of negative press. They insisted that Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Fredman, was orchestrating a public smear campaign by leaking documents, emails, and behind-the-scenes footage. According to Lively's lawyers, the media circus surrounding the case had grown out of control, and only a strict court-ordered silence could ensure a fair trial. But in federal court, gag orders are rarely granted. The judge emphasized that the public's right to access certain documents and information typically outweighs celebrity reputations. As the hearing unfolded, the sensational details spilled into the press, further fueling curiosity. Lively argued that her personal and professional life was taking a pounding in the court of public opinion, and that the negative headlines were destroying her ability to negotiate new film deals or confidently promote other projects. Fredman countered that he was simply defending his client's interests after Lively allegedly fed confidential documents to the New York Times, resulting in an article that cast Baldoni as a manipulative villain. He claimed any public statements he made were necessary clarifications in response to Lively's strategic leaks. The judge, unmoved by either side's dramatic pleas, denied Lively's request for a gag order. Not only did that refusal keep the spotlight fixed on the case, but it opened the door for more disclosures as each camp scrambled to shape the narrative. For Baldoni, the fallout was tangible. He lost his agent, his podcast got canceled, and multiple film deals vanished. Meanwhile, Lively still had her influential standing in Hollywood, though her image was beginning to crack. By the end of the hearing, it was clear that this wasn't just a legal standoff. It was a high-stakes public battle for sympathy and credibility, and the gag order defeat left Lively vulnerable to more revelations she might have preferred to keep buried. What exactly led to this calamitous break? Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios allege that Blake Lively hijacked the production, far exceeding her role as an actress with a vanity executive producer credit. They claim she demanded sweeping script rewrites without studio approval, fired the existing wardrobe team, and brought in her own stylist, at a jarring extra cost of $500,000 to the production. She also insisted on hiring an editor whose only major credit was a Taylor Swift music video. Normally, a big-budget movie employs seasoned editors with a portfolio of cinematic work. Lively's choice raised eyebrows and increased tensions, particularly as she sidelined the original post-production team Baldoni had assembled. According to court documents, the situation became so unmanageable that Sony, which was handling certain distribution aspects, threatened to delay release if Lively continued bucking standard industry protocols. The most controversial accusation is that Lively took a rough cut of the film on a plane to screen at a massive book event, potentially exposing the project to leaks. Studios typically guard unreleased footage like gold, fearing that any breach could damage box office potential. Lively, however, seemed convinced that giving fans an early taste would build buzz. Or, as her critics argue, she simply wanted to maintain a social media spotlight, pushing brand endorsements like her hair care line and alcohol brand alongside the film. If any of the rough-cut footage leaked online, it could have meant legal nightmares and major financial repercussions for everyone involved. By the time principal photography ended, the set had devolved into open hostility. People were either Team Lively or Team Baldoni, with some crew members feeling caught in the crossfire. Wayfarer executives claim they tried to mediate and preserve the original vision of It Ends With Us, but Lively's star power was formidable. When it came time for promotional materials, posters, trailers, social media teasers, Baldoni's creative stamp was conspicuously minimized. Fans began to wonder why the film's director was barely visible in its rollout. and rumors circulated that Lively had effectively sidelined him. The next stage of this drama played out on a sprawling website launched by Baldoni's attorney Brian Fredman. It was packed with evidence. Screenshots of text messages, timelines showing production changes, legal documents outlining Lively's alleged demands, and even clips from interviews that caught her contradicting earlier statements. The most startling pieces were partial recordings said to confirm that Lively threatened negative press coverage if she didn't get the final say on certain creative decisions. Public reaction was swift and split. Lively's most devoted fans dug in their heels, defending her as a powerful woman standing up against a male-dominated industry. They believed that if she found the set toxic, she had every right to take bold steps to protect herself and her vision. On the flip side, a growing contingent of observers started questioning her sincerity. Why, they asked, would someone so uncomfortable on set single-handedly rewrite scripts, override creative teams, and host private screenings for fans? And how did accusing Baldoni publicly help her cause if she was so worried about personal safety? Others pointed to her questionable marketing approach, noting that she frequently plugged her hair care line or designer clothing in the same breath she discussed It Ends With Us, a film deeply rooted in themes of domestic abuse. Critics felt that she crossed a line between normal promotional hustle and insensitive, self-serving branding. Social media became a battleground of hashtags, with hashtag Team Blake and hashtag Team Baldoni trending on and off, each side lobbing receipts to prove their stance. Meanwhile, Baldoni's career had hit rock bottom. He lost major deals and was reportedly forced to lay off staff. Wayfarer Studios faced a wave of negative publicity that cost them future projects. That bitter reality made some people question whether Lively's allegations were truly about justice, or if they were part of a calculated strategy to push Baldoni out of his own production. With so much conflicting information, the wider public found it difficult to pinpoint who, if anyone, was telling the whole truth. A turning point arrived when the New York Times published an in-depth feature portraying Justin Baldoni as the central villain in this Hollywood meltdown. Detailed multiple unnamed sources saying he created a stifling, even hostile environment, and that Lively had no choice but to stand up for herself. Peace landed with a thunderclap, cementing Baldoni's negative reputation and sparking immediate backlash from sponsors, partners, and fans. He lost representation at WME, watched his podcast get yanked, and saw major film opportunities dissolve. But Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios weren't ready to cede the narrative. They pointed to timestamps on certain documents and text messages, suggesting that Lively's team had been building a relationship with the journalist months before the story broke. Baldoni accused them of feeding selective, out-of-context details to shape the final article. In new court filings, he provided metadata allegedly showing that the New York Times piece was strategically timed to coincide with Lively's push for total creative control over the sequel, It Starts With Us. The outcome was devastating for Baldoni's reputation, making it infinitely harder for him to defend himself. Supporters of Baldoni felt the article was a well-orchestrated takedown designed to cement public opinion against him before he could fully present his side. Others saw it as a natural consequence of his alleged behavior. But no matter which side people took, one thing was clear. The New York Times piece escalated the stakes to a boiling point, fueled the perception that either Lively was a shrewd mastermind waging a scorched earth campaign, or that Baldoni was genuinely a toxic figure who had now been exposed to the world. As the litigation wore on, every new discovery amplified the drama, turning a simple adaptation of a beloved novel into a fiasco of Hollywood's biggest, he said, she said. By the time the case reached federal court, it had spiraled into multiple legal threads. Lively's original lawsuit, Baldoni's countersuit, and additional claims of defamation, breach of contract, and possible tortious interference in business deals. Ryan Reynolds was dragged into the turmoil as well, accused of working behind the scenes to help Lively wrest the rights away from Baldoni. Combined monetary value of these lawsuits reached estimates of $400 million, making headlines for the astronomical damages at stake. At a pivotal pre-trial conference, Lively's lawyers doubled down on their request for a gag order, claiming Fredman's media blitz was sabotaging her reputation. But the judge flatly denied it, reminding everyone that federal civil courts seldom muzzle participants unless there's a dire need. Next, Lively's attorneys tried to argue that she shouldn't be deposed by Fredman, accusing him of defaming her character. That plea also fell on deaf ears. The judge made it clear that she has to answer questions from the attorney of her adversary. No special treatment. With the gag order denied, both sides hinted they might be open to a settlement. Yet, the bitterness is so entrenched that an out-of-court resolution feels improbable. The trial date gets pushed up, as the judge suggested it might. Lively and Baldoni could be facing off in front of a jury far sooner than either expected. That trial might reveal the full trove of emails, texts, and behind-the-scenes footage that each side has been promising and dreading. What if Baldoni wins? He could recoup potentially hundreds of millions in damages and possibly salvage his standing in Hollywood. If Lively prevails, she might walk away with total control of It Ends With Us and its sequel, while also cementing her image as a woman who bravely fought back against a toxic creative environment. Or if this devolves into a murky, inconclusive outcome, both may end up losing valuable industry connections, brand endorsements, and future projects. So here we are, watching one of Hollywood's most jaw-dropping showdowns play out in real time. Blake Lively's and Ryan Reynolds' reputations are on the line, challenged by Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios, who say they've been wronged beyond repair. Fans and onlookers remain divided, sifting through conflicting stories and endless leaks in a frantic search for the truth. At its core, this saga isn't just about money or legalities. It's about power, control, and the dark corners of celebrity culture, where carefully curated images can shatter under the weight of scandal. The film It Ends With Us was supposed to illuminate the dark reality of domestic violence, but instead, the real-life drama behind its making has overshadowed the storyline, turning it into a cautionary tale of its own. Will Lively and Reynolds emerge unscathed, or will this legal firestorm permanently stain their Hollywood status? And can Justin Baldoni salvage his career, given the colossal toll this conflict has already taken on his life's work? For now, the court battles rage on, and the final verdict remains anyone's guess. What's clear is that neither side intends to retreat quietly. One misstep, one leaked message, one unexpected ruling, and everything could change overnight. Think this is the final nail in Blake Lively's career coffin? Or will she pull off a miraculous comeback? Share your thoughts below and let's keep the conversation rolling. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so you don't miss the latest developments in this high-stakes Hollywood showdown. The next chapter could be the most shocking one yet.